the two underrated things about peaks is number one, movement, right? But then like the immediate question is like, how do I know where to move? Like, do I go left? Do I go right? Usually the left direction is like by default better. Because if you want a right hand peek, you want to be more to the left behind the cover. If you want more accurate movement, what you need to consider, this is the second unknown thing about peeks that a lot of people don't know, is you need to process where the enemy is. Like, you actually need to look at them. Right? You can't look at the wall. It's like the equivalent of like if you're playing soccer, you're not supposed to look at the ball. You're supposed to look forward. You need to look where you're going. And in Fortnite, the equivalent of that is you need to look at the opponent. You need to not look at the edit that you're making. That should be automatic by now. And if it's not automatic, then you need to do your routine more. So those are the two things, movement and awareness of what the enemy is doing. So in this case, we'll continue and watch this part. And I'll try to break it down again. This is obviously my video, but I'll break it down again in my own voice to show you like what Norley is actually doing. If in doubt, in terms of where you should move, before you release the edit, just go left. 99% of the time, you should just go left to find right hand peaks. Right? So now, what does he have? He has a right hand peak. Right, so this is movement. This is it comes down to it. You don't want to edit the stair right in the box, right? There's two reasons for that. Because if you make a bad edit, even if it's a right hand, you won't have an easy reset, right, to block the next shot. Because peaks doesn't actually guarantee you won't get hit. They just guarantee you get the first hit. You'll get the first shot, and then they'll hit you back usually. But if you have a reset, you can deny that second shot from the opponent. So just like that, he peeks him, shoots, and then resets the wall, and then like by habit spins around to block off like third parties. That's just like a habit that he has. And then because he hears someone else, there's a second player in this building, so he goes back, makes some space, and again looks to go for a peek, places a cone so he can't block off, and peeks this guy. Obviously this guy can see him right now, but because Noah really like goes for a really like awkward angle, like just like surprisingly, he gets the shot without getting hit, and then resets and catches the enemy shot. If you really think about what's happening, if I can draw this in 3D, I have no idea if this is gonna work out. This is this guy's perspective. This is what this guy sees, right? This guy, Norley makes a peek like this on him, and Norley's sitting right here, right? But 2 seconds ago, this is where Norley was sitting, so he didn't expect it. He comes out, jumps out, and makes a peek on him. So he doesn't have his crosshair out. He probably thinks about swinging his pickaxe actually to take the wall. This is not something you should do by default, right? You shouldn't try to do this all the time, because sometimes they'll actually be ready, right? Because the entire time, this is not actually a good peek. And then kills this guy, obviously, because the reason he jumps in, by the way, number one, to get away from the other guy, and number two, to like finish the kill, because you have HP advantage. He hits him white, right? So that's why he does that. One more time. Right, goes forward to get away from the second kill because he's keeping a tab on him. But in terms of peaks don't matter anymore. Why? Because the HP is too low. You got information on that guy, you hit him white, okay, let me go in. That's a mistake that a lot of people make, actually. Once they learn peaks, they peek all the time. That's not what I'm telling you to do at all. I'm saying just peek to get the initial trade. So let's say the initial trade is only 20. I don't count that to be significant damage, so I'm just gonna keep peeking. You keep peeking to get them low, and then once they're low, you throw peeks out of the window if you can. If you can full commit to them, do it. Let's watch this part. This part's actually interesting. So sometimes it's okay to not peek if the opponent's not looking at you. That's why it's important, like I said before, to look at the enemy, right? Don't look at your edits, look at the enemy. If you look at the enemy, then you can tell what they're thinking. It's very obvious. So far, the only like non-peek that he did was like the original like peek on this like this wall right here. But he continues. He gets a shot up before he resets the wall. This is where it gets crazy, right? Because Noah really keeps his eyes on the ball. That's what he does. He doesn't really do anything else. So in this case, I want you to notice how quickly did this happen. It's really hard to tell, but where's this guy looking in the wall? Low quality. So I don't.
There you go.
Yep, he's looking to the right. So what does Noah really do? Screw peeking. Right, just expose him. You don't really care. Let's expose his whole body and take a really nice shot. Now obviously right after like one shot you should probably reset. Maybe after one shot he's still not looking at you. Maybe you can go for 2 shots then, right? So it makes a lot of sense to sort of gauge whether or not you should reset based on the opponent. Now obviously you're a controller player, which means you can't reset that easily, right? So what I would do is not try to maximize the damage. Just go for 1 shot and then reset hold. Like, don't try to like wait until he looks at you. Does that make sense? Just go for 1 shot and then just reset, because you can't reset as fast as PC players. What I would sort of do, if there was a spectrum in terms of like playstyle, and it was like this, and this side is peaks, right? And this side is get in. PC players are like, keyboard and mouse players are somewhere here. You should be here, but you should still know how to do this. I'm not. This is what you were playing like. Or like here, or just actually you weren't even playing like that. You weren't even on the spectrum because you didn't do peaks or get in. You just did bad peaks. So it's important to understand both and understand when to do them. But in general, I think as a controller player, I genuinely encourage this, especially in the spray meta, is you should be somewhere to the left. So you're paying attention, HP advantage. I want you to notice something else. Is this a good peak that's coming up? I'm gonna ask you this. This one right here.
Oh.
Yeah, why?
Oh, yeah. It could be, yeah.
It's decent, but it's not like no really cares to go all the way to the left. This guy's literally one shot no matter what. No really doesn't care. Also, pay attention to the distance. This guy's so far away that no really's not in threat of getting one pumped. Right? Even if he gets like pump aimbotted, the other guy's probably gonna hit him for like 50 because of how far away he is. The biggest reason, if you want to just simplify it, is you're right. It's a health advantage. That's it. But then that's the way to end the fight quickly. Make sure you can just clean this guy up and then take here. Now watch this. This is the whole example. The whole reason I pulled up this video. So first of all, pre-fire. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then look, right? What I want you to understand is obviously this is a right-hand peek, but look how far away he's to the left. What I mean by that, let's say this is the enemy. You don't have to start the window right here. You're right. This is a right-hand peek, but if the enemy's like naturally moving to the right, like this, you're right. He's gonna see you in literally about like half a second. If they just move an inch like this, it's the whole peak is gone. So instead of doing this, why not do this? And then, like, let's say they're full box, right? So you can take your time. So in this case, it's better to do this, and then make sure, like, you want to make sure your wall is not weak, so you can just spray through. But if it's not weak, you just do this, and then slowly, this is you slowly inch to the right, slowly until he's exposed, and then you shoot him, reset, hold. Make sense? That's what you want to do. So a lot of people make this mistake. They try to perfect it on the first second. You don't need to. You don't need to do this. You can do this if you see him moving like this. Okay, fine, I can do this. But if he's moving towards the right, this actually is dangerous. So that's why he does this super far to the right edit, because it doesn't matter. Right? And now, obviously, because of the simple fact that this is counterclockwise. If you watch my mouse, this is counterclockwise around the like pole in the middle. You will always find right hand peek. So if you're in doubt of where you want to go in terms of like how to approach the enemy, go around the right. Let's say I want to draw another diagram, and there's a bunch of boxes. This is bird's eye view again. Bunch of boxes like this. Let's say my enemy is sitting right here. Right? For whatever reason, he's out of mats. Okay, and you want to sort of approach him, and you're sitting right here. You want to go counterclockwise, because that's the way you find right hand peak. So if you walk like this and you're both out of mats or whatever, you can find this right hand peak on this edge right here. Whereas if you go like this, he's gonna right hand peek you. And this works like in vertical as well. Like, so if he's on height, if we're watching the side view now, if he's on height like on a cone and he's sitting up here, you don't want to go like this. Make sense? That's counterclockwise, or clockwise rather. You don't want to go around the left, because then he's gonna see you and he's gonna right hand peek you on this like edge right here. He's gonna right hand peek you. You don't want that. Instead, you want to go like this. Make sense? Around, if you want to ramp up, you want to stay close so it's hard for him to see you. You maybe this is the box, and then you place a ramp like this. Right? You want to go around like that, and then you're gonna naturally find the right hand peak. There's very important decisions here. Actually, I'll show you an example right now. Actually, obviously, Mr. Savage is like just chasing him naturally, but let's see which way he decides to go and why it's just nicer. So now he's going which way? Right or left? Counterclockwise or clockwise? He's going
just right.
Yeah, he's just right. Yeah, let's keep it simple. Yeah, exactly. He's just going around the right, which gives him natural right hand peaks on any walls he wants to swing on. Right? If he wants to swing on this wall, he hits right hand peek on the wall. That's the thing about swinging. That's why you diagonal box fight. Is every time you swing on the wall, you actually want to right hand peek the wall, right? So that it, like if they edit on you, they're gonna have a hard time seeing you in the first place. Yeah, keep going around right, and then he just literally continues like that over and over and over. And the opponent's gonna have if he wants to swing, or if he wants to edit on Mr. Savage, he's gonna have a hard time doing it. Okay, very simple example. So let's talk about certain types of peaks. Obviously, this is the most common edit, but you can also do windows, right? Biggest thing about a window is you don't want to hug the front. Do me a favor and stand far away from the window. Okay, stand like right here. Okay, can you see me?
No.
At all?
I can see your like elbow now.
Yeah. So who has right hand peek?
You do.
Exactly. Why is it that I can't shoot you?
Because I'm so far back.
Yeah, and I'm also really close to the wall. More I back up. See that? I haven't moved my mouse or my cursor at all. See that? So that's the reason. Like sometimes if you're too close to the edit or the surface that you're right hand peeking, that means like even the left-hander can see you. Let me show you another example. Go in the very left corner right there. Okay, can you see me?
Like barely.
Yeah, you can shoot me. I can't shoot you at all. So even though I have right hand peek, you can see me first. How does that make sense? I'm just too close. So when I do this situation like this, I need to be further back. A lot of people do this. Even Joji does this. It's a mistake. It's not good. Obviously, you can talk about like, oh, you're swinging on him, so it's a surprise. But again, like I said before, surprise is not fundamentals. You should try to avoid that if possible. So yeah, that's the first thing. That's like the main concept of like angles. You don't want to be really close to the edit, otherwise it's gonna be really hard. Now, why do people go really close to this? It's because they don't want to be exposed. This is fine, right? Because when you're doing jump shots, you're not right hand peeking. Another peek, right? Cone peeks. So if I have you full box like this, right, and I want to sort of make sure I don't, you know, get the wall taken. Maybe I know you're looking at the wall and you're like trying to replace it as soon as I edit. I'm gonna make a wide edit and cone peek like this, right? And then reset. That's a nice peek as well. You can use different surfaces for peeks. It doesn't have to be just exclusively walls. But in general, you just want to be as far back as possible before you let go. So yeah, I've talked about this peek, right? But in this case, you want to be either really far back before you let go, so I can't see you, and then you can do stuff like this, right? After you shoot, and then I can just go like, right? So like one thing to understand, especially on controller, resets are harder than placing build. So if you can place a build, try to shoot place instead of reset.